to part three of episode two. I never thought it would get to part three, but here we are. And we're going to make the most of it. Um, Last we left our intrepid crew from the USS Dharma. They had just entered the computer control room of the spaceship that they have been exploring for the past, I would say, an hour and a half. They've been to the forest, blue in color, and they have met some interesting flora. Some of which tried to kill them, but they were um, deft, nimble, and aware enough to step out of its way. They found some tribal analogs in the forest that seemed to be released at a particular cadence, which seemed to them following some sort of feeding cycle. Though the feeding grounds were completely empty of any sort of um, non flora based life forms. From there on, they continued to follow the power line. No, sorry, my mistake. From there on, they continued to follow the direction that the tricorder was pointing to, and the direction the tricorder was pointing to was the center of, or is the center of the spaceship they're in. They come Finally, they come to a location where they start seeing some sort of structures out in the distance, humanoid made structures. um, and that's when our players come to the realization that they have indeed found what seems to be the either the center of the ship, or at least where some sort of control systems should exist. um, at this point, they do have come under the influence of certain pheromones from these brain flowers. The brain flowers themselves seem to be anxious and fearful of these visitors. Most of the crew was able to kind of suppress the feeling of anxiety and fear. However, Boss and I believe Salus were not successful. Stalek, with his quick thinking and medical know-how, was able to create um, some sort of an antihistamine, and via hypospray was able to um, kind of reverse the effects that the brain flowers were emitting via pheromones. Um, the crew then continued towards the structure, climbed a few rock formations, and finally came to what looked like an entrance to a facility. Upon entering the facility, they gained access to this room that you're seeing on your screens right now. This is as far as you know, the central control system. You take the time to hook up your tricorders and start translating the alien language. Once that is done, you guys are able to verbally communicate with the system that's running this facility. You're able to get some information out of it, though some of it seems to be missing or incomplete, or the computer is not being responsive in some way that you would like. Some of your attempts did put the computer in some sort of a security mode. All the screens there, from a blue, everything's all right kind of status, went to red, things do not seem all right status. Things that puzzled you were the fact that there were about 10 crew members. None of them are to be seen. The external sensors on the ship are non operational. The ship leaves its on course to some place called New Vahar. You find out that the ship belongs to the Vahari, an alien race that the Federation has never come in contact with. The Vahari are humanoid in shape and form, but have bluer skin compared to other species that you've come across. And when you guys couldn't make any further headway, that is when Salus decided that most computer systems should have a factory reset, and she chose to initiate factory reset. the computer asked for authorization code, which she didn't have. She did a best guess, and the authorization code was incorrect. That is where we left off, with the computer starting to give out this alarm. And let me just reduce the volume a bit. And this music kicks in to give you the sense and feel of where you are at this point. At this point, you guys are free to roleplay as you wish.
Salas, what have you done?
Foolish girl.
Lyra's immediately on her tricorder trying to scan for any incoming life forms. As you know, she tries to maybe boost the range of the tricorder for any. Is there one exit into this room or multiple?
There are two exits into this room, two exits into this room. One on your left over here, and then a mirror one on your right.
Okay.
If you scroll down, you would see the two left and right entrances.
I see. I gotcha. Yeah. So Lyra looks at the left entrance and then says, "Boss, can you go to the other side and make sure we don't have company coming?" And she goes to the left entrance and begins to try to scan in the hallway to see if she can detect any incoming life forms.
So Lyra, as you start moving to the left, your eye catches this panel over here.
Okay.
And you notice that there are now droids or robots that seem to be approaching the facility. To give you guys a better look, this is what the facility looks like, and there seem to be droids approaching the facility now.
Stalik is looking around for anything that may help them stop this alarm. So any kind of maybe old key card from someone, or something.
Sure.
Like that.
That would be a simple task. I won't ask you to roll for it. You guys are now familiar with the alien language, and you see that that there is a simple key sequence that you can enter to disable the annoying alarm klaxon.
And we know the code, like it's obvious.
Yes, it is pretty obvious. Like it's kind of this thing where the audio is there to kind of make you aware that something is wrong, but then you can cancel it because you have got the point, right? So
yeah, definitely. So he will do that, then shut down that for sure.
Perfect. So the alarm klaxon is now turned off.
Yeah, Lyra turns around from the monitor. Incoming robots, likely some sort of security protocol. And she looks over at Renan.
Renan pulls out his phaser. Right, well, how many do you see?
And she looks back at the monitor, and how many does she see?
Right now you see 2.
2 right now. Are they, how are they approaching? Are they walking, flying?
They are right now hovering. Yes, they are flying towards the installation. Yes.
The rate of speed is coming pretty quickly. They're flying this direction.
Can we fire from windows in this place?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is pretty. Think of I've made sure that the visuals that you see are very accurate as to how I want to depict this scene and space. So this particular room is deeper into the structure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and by time we made it towards the edge, they'd already be inside. So, yeah.
No, Zypher, I'm just asking real quick. There's nothing, I know that this is depicting it, but there's nothing like very close on us that would be a door or anything that we could shut. Is that correct?
Yes, no, there are no doors around this place that you could shut, yes.
Okay.
I'm on talk now.
Good.
Okay, as Lyra shouts to give Boss Hogg the commands to look out, it's not apparent until they get into the thick of setting up defense perimeters. Boss Hogg is not listening to her. He is studying the computer terminal that we're at, and he is going to use his something scrutiny racial ability.
Mm-hmm.
He's looking for a way to get into this machine.
Awesome. Boss, you notice that on the left side of the machine, there is actually a couple of panels that you can quickly remove with your engineering toolkit that you carry around with you.
Okay, then he's definitely going in for that. And he's starting to look for stuff that might emulate anything that he's encountered before that might, basically, if combat's going to ensue, that's cool. But he's also going to try, hopefully with the momentum and stuff, he's going to try and disable this thing's security routing or whatever.
Perfect. There are a couple of options that you have. You can disable the security routing, or you can continue to proceed with what Salis had tried. That would be a factory reset. There are those two options that you have that you could try.
Yeah, factory reset. That'd make the most sense. Shut the machine down and reboot it.
Okay, perfect.
That to me would be the simplest thing to do.
Okay, perfect. So I would move you here, saying you're going to start working on that. Is anybody going to assist Boss in this process?
What would be the
Alex concerned? He was already concerned with the security system. So if he saw Boss doing further work after he shut down the audio effect, then yes, he would help.
Okay. To Lyra's question, the work would generally revolve around computers and engineering. Because Boss will have to go in there and do some nifty reprogramming, and because he'll have to kind of hack into the system and force it to do a factory reset.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care who assists. I mean, it doesn't matter to me.
Not being able to speak the language and having no idea how they wire their systems, that's going to be the difficulty.
So, Lyra, you have expertise in computers.
Computers, I do.
Yeah,
I have a focus.
Yep, you have a focus in computers. Stalek, you do not. But that being said, I would leave it up to you guys to decide how you want to do this.
No, yeah. Once we realize there's only enough room for really two people to work, Stalek would stand up and say, "Lyra, you would be much better at this task. Perhaps you should assist."
She doesn't even respond. She knows this, and she just steps forward and gets on her knees next to Boss Hogg and begins helping to rip the panels off and assist him where possible. She calls back and she's like, "Watch the doors, they're coming."
Yes, Stalek goes to the monitor.
Perfect. So Lyra is at the terminal as well. I want to cut over to Rinnan. Rinnan, what would you like to do tactically for this situation?
How many doors are in this room?
There are two entrances, one to your left here, and then one opposite to your right here.
Okay. Does Salis have a phaser?
Yes, Salis has a phaser type, a type 1 phaser.
Mm-hmm. All right, Salis, cover that door, and at that one, okay. And I'll cover the other. We need to make sure that we provide Ensign Hogg and Ensign Lyra with enough time to work on that system to get the reset going.
Perfect. So I'm going to do this.
Stalek says, do you wish for me to punch these droids? I do not carry a phaser.
Lyra just turns around and she's like, "Use mine."
Ensign Lyra, do you imagine me using your phaser at this very moment?
Yeah, she just kind of takes it off her belt and slides it over to Stalek without saying anything.
Stalik will use it since it's droids.
Perfect. That's a good call, Stalik. So, give me a moment.
When the computer sounded the alarm, did it stop talking to us? Did it like the terminal power down or anything? I'm trying to basically see if the thing's still sentient or aware of us.
No, the computer did not power down. It is still active, and it's still aware of what you're trying to do.
Okay, so I will actually talk to machines.
Okay.
As I'm doing it, I'll be like, "Computer, you're obviously malfunctioning. Says you're about to commit a horrible atrocity by sending security in after us. If you must summon the ship's commanding officer, we'll handle this matter civilly."
And you get the response. Hold on. Unable to summon commanding officer. Unable to locate commanding officer. Intruders detected. Security protocol in effect. Intruders must be neutralized.
That's when I grab a hold of a panel and I like pound the top of the console and just go, "Blast! You see, you're obviously malfunctioning."
Okay, just give me a moment while I ensure that Stalik has a phaser.
I never thought I'd be using a phaser.
This is a
for the
day of
record,
firsts.
for the record swamp, hypo sprays aren't aerosols you spritz like perfume. They're injectors. You stick them in the arm with it. I was listening to the last session and he said,
Yeah,
like,
I asked that, and
I was listening to the last session and I laughed because you said you were going to spray me in the face with a hypo spray. I was like, huh?
I was gonna let it keep going. He had
that's what happens when
Just
people
jab you in the
When I
forehead.
ask, if people don't answer, then
I didn't quite catch that actually.
I
Okay,
didn't.
cool.
I was down for whatever, man. Spray me all you want.
Cool.
so what happens when you don't watch Star Trek?
Okay, cool. So everybody should be set up at this point. Okay, so let's start with Boss and Lyra. So, Boss, what's going to happen here is the task to actually reset the computer is rather quite involved, and we are now going to do something called extended tasks. The task difficulty of this would be reason and engineering. I mean, the task could be reason and engineering, and the task difficulty would be 3. Lyra can definitely assist you, and Lyra, you're free to choose an attribute and a discipline that you feel would help in this scenario. And when you are able to do the task successfully, we are going to do something called a work track. A work track basically defines a magnitude of work that you need to complete. And as you succeed at tasks, you start completing sections of your work track. So it's kind of a situation where you're working and you're doing a bunch of mini activities as part of your task, working towards completing it. Rather than a single task roll, it's a chained task rolls. Sounds good?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. So, Boss, let's start with you. Roll reason and engineering with the task difficulty 3.
How much momentum do we have?
At this moment, you have 3 momentum.
Okay, so we have 3 momentum and 14 doom, or not doom, threat.
Yes.
Okay.
14 threat, exactly.
Sorry.
Actually, it is going to be 12 threat. I just used some of the threat to bring in these guys.
Okay.
I'm going to be spending a momentum.
Okay.
Values come into play when?
Values would come into play when you want to use a determination.
Okay, yeah. Determinations are like fate points. They're usually used in a pinch.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, exactly.
And
Okay.
in Star Trek, does the determination give us an automatic success with a roll of a 1? Is that correct?
Yes, that is
Okay.
correct.
Okay.
You can also use it in a couple of other ways also. Say you're in combat, and say we're not yet in combat just yet, but say you're in combat. In combat, you can basically do one task and one minor action.
Mm-hmm.
You can expend a determination to do
Yeah.
2 tasks
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So you would, boss, not to tell you what to do, but if you used one of those, you would get. I think you would get 2. You would build momentum off of it if you succeeded, because you would roll a 1, right?
Yes, you'd automatically get 2 successes.
And how many determination we have, and how quick do they replenish?
You have 1 determination, and they replenish at the beginning of every mission. Now, if you have a value, and you how do you say, challenge that value successfully, that means that you challenge it and you say this value no longer applies to me. Then you get the determination back to be able to use again. Values are like things that you believe in,
Yeah.
and they change as your experience as a Federation, as a Starfleet officer changes, right? But it depends on the situation and the scenario is.
Yes.
Not every time can you challenge the value.
Yeah, it sounds like Marvel Heroic, where they have the you get 2 callings, and you get experience based off of when you use them. And whenever you use the big one that gives you 10 experience, you have to choose a new one. But you said whenever I use it and I actually succeed, it goes away, and I have to choose a new one.
No. So if you say, for example, you understand technology better than people, right? You're going to say that's my value. That means you're already the best person in this group to know how to do this job, right? You can use that as a determination and automatically get 2 successes.
Okay.
Right. And then that means you only have to generate 1 more success. Now, certain things to think about is that Lyra is helping you, and as an assist, she can roll her own 1d20, and any successes she generates automatically get attached to your total success.
Yeah.
If you're assisting, can you use momentum?
If you're no, you cannot use momentum
no.
if you're assisting.
Not to be a thrill kill, but I am going to activate Starfleet has taught me much as of my value. Basically, Starfleet has taught him that the easiest way when encountering a problem is to do a factory reset or emergency shutdown, so he knows what to look for despite the difficulty of it being alien technology, alien language, and whatnot.
Perfect. So you automatically get 2 successes.
And I'm still spinning a momentum as well.
Okay.
So it's difficulty 3, you said?
Difficulty 3, yes.
I don't have any applicable focuses.
So you already have 2 successes, and you generated 3 more actually.
Yeah.
Oh, baby.
Lyra, you go
Challenge
ahead.
die.
Yeah, boss, don't forget the challenge die. Lyra, go ahead and assist, boss. How are you assisting?
So she essentially is going in and trying to looking for specific physical things like breakers she could trip, that sort of thing, with her knowledge of computers, etc. So
okay.
So I'm going to roll reason and science.
Reason and science, 1d20.
All right, let me. And I do have an applicable focus, computers.
Yes. Yes.
Task difficulty. Should I put a difficulty on it or no?
In your case, just leave it as 1.
Okay.
Perfect. So, okay. So you succeed, Lyra. So how does this role play wise, guys?
Boss does not like being helped when he's working because he's very independent, and so he would be like gruffly going, "Wah!" He'll smash and get down into it. Then we realize somebody's coming in. He's like, "Blast, woman, what are you doing? Well, hand me that. Hand me the calculator. No, over there, quick. We're going to run a secondary bypass over here. On the count of 3.
Yeah, and she hands him the tool and looks and nods and kind of reaches her hand around in the console and is like feeling for components and finds something she thinks will help turn this thing off.
He's not beyond teaching people either. He's not totally self-absorbed, but he's just like, what I'm trying to do is run a secondary. I'm using the ship's or the terminal's own power against it. I'm going to run a temporary bypass to make it think it's experienced a power outage. So you run down that coupler down there. He says, on my mark, he says, we should do the trick.
And she nods and she's like, you should turn off the auxiliary power switch in the back. And she flips that off before boss.
He's like, fine. Yes, of course, I
forgot. Awesome. So this is perfect. So you guys are successfully able to finish one stage of your work. So this is how extended work actually operates. Boss, I need you, when you click on a token, you'll see that there is a roll challenge dice. I need you to roll that. Click on that. It will ask you the number of dice. You start with 2. And since you used engineering, you add 4 more to it. So total of 6 challenge die is going to be rolled.
Okay.
Oh, Christ. What is this?
Awesome. And so you have made a progress of 6 in a requirement of total 10.
There you go.
And you've made a breakthrough of 1. So think of this mechanically as you guys are busy working on these systems and you have staged successes that are required, right? You take out the panel, you read out the power, you ensure that the auxiliaries are all turned off, and once that step is done, now you're going to go to the next step of actually maybe jumping through code loops, etc., etc. So it's extended tasks generally come in these scenarios where the task is pretty complicated, and it's not just a matter of running actions on your tricorder.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So you guys need to get 1 more breakthrough, or basically finish 4 more blocks in your work track.
So either or?
Either or. Because the moment you finish the work track, you get an additional breakthrough, and this task requires 2 breakthroughs.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Perfect. So let's pause the action there for you guys. Rinan, you see when on the left entrance, there is a security bot that is starting to turn the corner and is heading towards your entrance. Stalus and Salus, you also see a security bot turning the corner and heading towards you guys through the entrance. Now we are in combat. You can clearly see that the bot is rushing towards the computer station. Between Rinan and Stalik, who would like to go first?
Rinan.
Yes, I
Okay.
would. Oh, okay. I got my phaser. I trained on the droid, and I mean, this isn't a human being or anything. This isn't a living life form. It is just a bucket of bolts. So I am not worried about destroying it, as it's threatening our lives. If we got 5 momentum, I suppose I'll use one.
Okay.
And I'm going to shoot it with my phaser, or attempt to.
Perfect.
And I do have a focus.
Yes, phasers are your focus. Perfect. You hit. I forgot to mention you do have a action. Minor action allows you to do a couple of stuff when you're especially acting with phasers. You can aim to reroll a d20, and you can also prepare your phaser to do certain extra things. So go ahead, roll a damage. Perfect. So the phaser does hit, and you notice that it's 5 plus, I would say, for this. Let's use the effects as you're going for a harder hit, so that's a total of 8. And you do some damage to the robot that's coming towards you. You do notice that the robot is well armored compared to the maintenance robot that you came across in the forest. Okay.
More threat. Give us more.
Stalik. When you click on a token now, you should see there's now an phaser that you can use. Are you going to attack?
Yeah. I'm looking at these actions real quick. Yeah, so he'll aim and then fire.
Perfect. Go for it. You're not buying any momentum, correct?
Probably wouldn't hurt.
So remind me again what more successes means more damage on an attack, correct?
Yes. More successes allow you to do certain things on attack. You can add some more damage. There is a handout called Combat Momentum Spend. You can do an additional 1 damage per momentum that you spend. You can choose to keep the initiative. You can
I
also
see reroll damage.
Yeah. There's also something called penetration. So if the person or entity you're attacking has some armor, you can choose to ignore that.
So I won't use momentum to add damage or to add die to my pool. It'll be to add effects.
No. So
okay, never mind. So yeah, I'll use one to add.
Yes, you can use the momentum right now to make sure that, because when you
make sure it hits, or
hits.
I can
But once you hit, if you have generated any more momentum during that task, that you can then use for things like additional damage or penetration, so on and so forth.
Okay. All right. So cool. I will use a momentum to hit. So I'll use 3 die, no focus.
Nice.
Awesome. That hits. Go ahead and roll the damage. 2, and
it'll roll challenge die too, correct?
Oh no! Before you do that, hold on. So that's 2 damage, and I would say you're trying to take this robot out. So each effect would be 1 damage additional. So that's a total of 4 damage. You have generated 1 additional momentum. Would you like to use that to add 1 more damage?
Yes, it's gonna do bonus damage.
Okay. So that's 4, 5. Perfect. Okay.
And actually,
So, Zypher, what would you say as far as if we roll an effect on the challenge die? Is that still a +1 momentum, a +1 threat, or is that just +1 threat?
It's you gain a number of momentum equal to what the die roll is, since it says 1 on the effect die and not 0 like the black die. I'm assuming you gain 1 momentum and also threat.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's go with that for now, and I'll confirm it later tonight. I believe that is correct.
Yeah, because it says you gain bonus momentum equal to the roll of the challenge die and adds 1 point to the threat if the effect is rolled.
Yes, correct. So because you could also roll a 2, and that would be 2 momentum.
Right.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay.
so what happened there then?
In your case, okay, so let's kind of go back to Stalik. Your attack roll was successful. You did hit the target, and like Rinan, you saw that the target has some armor on it, and you feel that not all of the damage was effective. Some of it may have been soaked up. In the case of your challenge die roll, it was a 0, so no threat, no momentum has been added to the pool.
Yeah, your challenge dies were rolled as a result of what's called untapped potential. If you have that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's whenever you spend momentum and you succeed on a task, you roll a challenge die and you can gain bonus momentum for doing it.
Yeah, I thought you guys were talking about the damage on the weapon, not the untapped potential.
No,
Challenge
we were talking about
anyway,
shitty stuff.
so yeah.
So to answer your question about damage on the Stalik, you'd roll 2 damage, and if you roll 2 effects as well. Since you guys are trying to take these robots down, I'm saying those effects add additional 1 damage each.
And that's from the phaser's charge ability, correct?
Yes, that's from the phaser's charge ability. Yes.
Instead of using the 1 momentum to add damage, can I use that one and 1 more to do the the swift task and like attempt to hide from the thing so it does not shoot me?
Sure, you can definitely do that.
Because I think that's more Stalik's style. He's not like a crack shot or nothing. He'd be
Perfect.
more concerned with.
So that would mean that you have now cover. Would you be completely covered? What is Stalik doing roleplay?
If he can, he would take cover on wherever Salus is, but yes, he'd be completely covered for just in case. If basically his objective is if Salus gets hurt, help her. If not, he's firing back. But for now, he wants to be hidden.
Perfect. So it's kind of like your back is now you are kind of facing out into the corridor, then you quickly do 180 to the wall, and the robot can't see you. Something like that, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. Okay. Salus is going to go ahead and attack this robot with her phaser. 20 focus, which is a miss. And okay, the action goes back up top to Boss and Lyra. So Boss, go ahead and make the second task roll.
It's the same thing, reason.
Yep. Engineering and reason, task difficulty 3.
Given the prior situation as he's going through, is just like, on my mark, and then you point out the power, and then he does it, and he's like, this technology's so old, it's no better than a Romulan's trash compactor. Then he runs into some difficulty with it. or whatever. And he's like, oh, make that a Klingon trash compactor. And he starts filling around again, trying to get it shut down. The reason I asked that about Ghost is we should have one extra in the momentum pool.
Okay.
What I'll do is I'll spend that on this roll.
Okay.
Are we at 3 or 4?
Now you'll be at 4.
Yeah, now it would be at 4.
Okay. I can just click on that and look. Duh. Okay.
Oh.
Ooh.
Not cool.
I will. So if I use a determination, would that give us 2 extra successes to pass this test?
Yes. You would not only get 2 extra successes, you can still go ahead and your assist task and potentially get 1 more success.
Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do. She kind of like, no, not there, and she kind of like reaches across Boss Hogg's chest, kind of like with her shoulder in front of him, and begins like basically putting her delicate, smaller hands up in this little space between all these circuit boards, and she's like playing with dip switches and pulling out vacuum tubes and whatever how old this thing is that she's messing with. And then I'll do my
Yeah, I could easily see that his boss getting a little too confident in his merit, and then he's like, I got it done, and then suddenly something happens.
Yep. So dice pool 1d20
Nice
with a focus on computers.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I have
And
a focus.
which value would you be using this determination?
I would be using the same one as Boss did earlier. I know computers better than people, or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
So yeah. So she's kind of gruff with Boss as she's getting in there and like, what is this guy doing? That sort of thing.
Perfect. Awesome. So you generate your 2 successes because of determination and 1 additional success. So you guys complete the task, no issues, with an additional success in there. So
Yeah,
Go
she
ahead, boss.
lines up all the dip switches, and then she kind of like pulls her hands out and looks at Boss, and she's like, "There, I think that should do it."
Yeah, boss is like taken aback, just like, what? Then he watches her work, and based on if she succeeds or not will be his response. Because he's still got to roll challenge dice, right?
Yeah, so go ahead and roll 6 challenge.
I just lose connection.
I don't know.
It's you, Lyra. 6 challenge dice.
Oh,
No,
me?
you can. Yeah,
I thought it was
can go.
Boss.
Yeah, I would figure it'd be Boss.
Yeah,
Oh,
both,
hers are assisted to me?
Yeah. mhm.
Yes.
Is that why? Oh, okay, that's cool. I'm sorry.
There you go.
Come on. Whip it out. Oh, baby.
Ooh, and 2 effects. Perfect. So you are able to get your breakthrough, and this is what happens actually. So you guys do exactly what you're saying. Boss gets a little confident, and he takes a couple of mistakes that Lyra is able to quickly go in and fix. However, just before you can quickly go in and fix, there is a brief moment where all of you start hearing and at that exact moment you start feeling breathless, you start feeling extremely cold, you start feeling almost light-bodied as you feel that your body is starting to like slowly rise off the floor. Boss and Lyra, you quickly know that the system knows what you're trying to do and is trying to shut down all power. That means life support systems. That means gravitational systems. That means anything and everything that's keeping you guys alive in here. For that brief moment, the computer starts fighting back before Lyra jumps in and undoes the complication that Boss Hog was able to create it, right? And at that point, the computer starts entering its factory reset mode. Perfect. Moving the action down, um, the robots are going to try and attack. So this thing is going to. It has something called. You see this little kind of a tool actually pop out of the security robot. It looks pretty much like a taser, right? That would be the best description I can give you. And it's going to try and attack Rinnan. Rinnan, I forgot to ask you what your stance would be. I'm assuming that you're not completely out, correct?
Well, I wouldn't be completely out there unless I had to be, because my understanding is that they're trying to stop what's going on with the computer rather than deal with me. I'm just sort of in the way, and I intend to stay in the way.
Perfect.
So if I have to stand out in the middle of the fucking hallway to tank this taser so that Boss and Lyra don't, then I will. But otherwise, yeah, probably fighting tactically.
Perfect. So I would say you have partial cover. So the bot is going to go ahead and make its attack. 2d20. Yes.
Banged on. Oh, he missed.
He missed.
Huge.
So basically, the bot was hit by your phaser attack. It kind of reels back and kind of gets his bearings again, and then this thing that looks like a taser kind of pops out of its chest cavity area and fires a beam at you. But the beam, instead of hitting you, kind of hits the panel and the wall panel kind of right here, completely missing you in the process. The robot at the bottom is going to see that it can't. I would say Salus wouldn't be tactical and is going to have partial cover as well, and it's going to try and attack Salus. 2d20. And that's a miss as well. Perfect. And it's the same thing. It was hit by Stalek. It kind of swivels, gets its bearing, and then shoots again at Salus, but it hits the panel instead of Salus. It's back to you, Rinnan. What are you going to do?
Let's take another shot with momentum.
Perfect.
You must use what you have. Oh,
Oh, beautiful. Go ahead, roll damage.
destroyed.
Ooh. Yes. How does this look, Rinnan?
So after seeing the whatever errant shot it just put out bounce off the panel in front of me, I definitely. Where is that protruding from, by the way?
The stunner that's coming at you, it's kind of chest cavity area.
So after it flies by, before it closes that hatch or whatever again, I fire my phaser back towards it, and it goes right down the shaft of that stunner, and just chain reaction, electric sparks and everything. It just sort of stops, sort of goes limp-ish, head goes down, just sort of bursts into flames.
Perfect. Down to you, Stalek. What are you going to do?
Oh.
Ooh. So 3 momentum.
Dalek is going to pop out and fire.
Go for it. You, if you want, there is quite enough momentum in the pool. You can definitely.
Yeah, he's for sure. He's for momentum. So 3 die. Oh, whoops. Good point. I do not want to punch it.
Mm.
Yeah, don't do that. Hey.
Ooh, nice. Go ahead and roll your damage. Perfect. And are you going to use that one additional momentum you generated through the task to make one more damage?
Yeah, he'll do the extra damage.
Perfect.
Okay, unless I can disarm it somehow. But
no, not from this distance.
I didn't think of that. He will just do the extra damage.
Perfect. So that's 5. Oh, and one momentum goes back into the pool, so you guys are still at 6. Salis is going to use her phaser attack and use a momentum to ensure that she hits this time. And not to focus. Ooh! So she does hit. And I'm going to use that complication to act, right? Because...
Can she use a momentum to not make a complication, since we have so many?
No, I don't think so.
No, not for this one.
I couldn't remember. There's a way to do that, but I can't remember how to do it.
Create an advantage. It costs 2 momentum.
Oh, it's 2.
But somebody else has to create the advantage for her to.
Yeah.
In this scenario, it wouldn't really work out.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So roll damage 4, and I will say use that additional one 5. So 8. Perfect. Awesome. Top of the round, Boss and Lyra, you guys start seeing that the computer is going through its factory reset. At this point, kind of all systems are in some sort of like a standby mode as the operating system is going through its boot sequence, reinitializing all its core processors, its core memory. All of that is being reinitialized. Is there anything you guys would like to do at this time? That is Boss and Lyra.
We just bypass security to do a systems reboot. Is there any way to maybe download, or is there any way to port in and maybe learn more about the computer? Like if I, like trying to make it easier to hack into in case this thing comes back and goes, wait, you're not Wavarian or whatever.
Yeah, maybe like interrupt the boot sequence and get into like a maintenance mode type of thing on the computer.
Safe manual mode.
Maybe. Yeah, basically
It's
breaking
BIOS equivalent.
Yeah.
Definitely. This would be control plus engineering in your case, Boss. But I would like to ask you guys this question: who is leading this effort? Is it Boss or Lyra?
I would say Boss.
He has incisive scrutiny. He wants to find a weak spot in the machine, basically a way to bypass it to go into BIOS, because it reduces the difficulty for control.
Perfect. Awesome. So the task difficulty would have been...
Actually, I gain bonus momentum to obtain more info. That's what it is.
Okay. So the task difficulty of this is 2, which is going to be control plus engineering.
I will spend 2 momentum.
Okay.
Feels good, man.
I generate a bonus momentum. I will spend that one mixed with the other one here to remove that complication.
How do you do that? Role play it for me and then I'll...
Well, you have to establish what the complication is. I'm trying to basically crack in to get it to go into BIOS mode, so I guess it would be some kind of backup security protocol.
Yes, actually, I would say at this point, it wouldn't be backup security protocol. It would be basically, by this act, you are interrupting the boot sequence. And I would say the boot sequence, as part of its prerogative, is also keeping the systems in standby mode. By interrupting it in an obtrusive way, you start feeling the same effects I told you. last time. That would be the complication again. Basically, all life support systems, gravitational systems, will start to flicker and maybe go offline. So how do you role play overcoming those effects?
As it's starting to go into it, I'll start getting frantic looking and I'll be like, no. Then I'll start remembering what Lyra did when she started clamoring in here and started doing stuff. And I'll go down to my best guess, basically, but let the force guide you, so to speak, and flip a couple dip switches, and basically, like, I'm assuming like I'm getting the lock screen mode. Flip a couple of that and basically just trick it with like an electronic surge into resuming its process. If you've ever played online games before where you like lose connection and like the screen will lock up, there's sometimes you can confuse it by just like clicking the mouse button over and over, and it'll resume its download or whatever.
Perfect. You do exactly that. However, because a certain term was used in this genre, there is a noticeable spark of energy that is released when you do this. You lose 2 stress when the spark of energy hits you. You kind of executed in the process.
I love you and hate you at the same time. And I gladly take those 2 stress.
Perfect. You guys have successfully interrupted the standard boot sequence and now have complete root access from the BIOS level up. I'll leave you guys there at that point. And coming down to Rinnan, Stalek, and Salus. Rinnan, you are completely aware that the droid, the security droid, is still active behind you. What would you like to do?
Would I be able to move and shoot?
Yes, you may. Move would be your minor action. Shoot would be your action. So I'm going to move you down here. But as
Ensign Stalek, Ensign Salus, make way!
Go ahead and attack.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got a fuckload of momentum. I guess I'll use some.
Mm-hmm.
So down to 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Damn, I'm good at this.
Excellent. Go ahead and roll damage.
I'm really good at this. Hey.
Perfect. So, how does this look, Rinnan, as you take
I
this?
got him again?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, baby. So just pushing past my 2 fellow ensigns and just shoot straight through and just hit it right in the what appears to be the head, and just get through the visor thing that I see there on the token.
Mm-hmm.
And so it sort of shatters, and then it just stops, and nothing. A few sparks shoot out of the visor, but then it just sort of keels over and stops moving.
Perfect. At this point, you guys drop out of combat. Boss and Lyra, the computer is completely under your control. What would you guys like to do?
Yeah, Lyra looks over to Boss and then nods to the screen. Well, let's see what this thing can do.
Wasn't it Lyra that was trying to decipher the language in the last episode?
Stalek did.
Oh, Stalek did?
Yes, Stalek did actually.
Boss would be like, find your green-blooded friend. We may make use of his translation of their language. I'm assuming it's bringing up all these like alien characters and signatures and stuff.
Yes, it is doing that. You are getting the gist of most of it, but hooking up Stalek's tricorder is going to give you the complete translation.
Yeah, she would step aside and turn. Ensign Stalik, we need you.
Stalik would toss his, or like, yeah, I guess he'd walk over and hand it to them or whatever, and then he is going to inspect these robots. They seemed actually fairly advanced, and he may be able to get some information and or parts off of them.
Perfect. Okay. I'll put a pin on that, Stalik.
Yep, that's perfect.
Boss and Lyra, is there anything else you guys are going to do now that you have the tricorder?
Well, Lyra would take the tricorder and then try to connect it to the terminal in order to decipher the text, if possible.
It is possible, given the time you guys have spent at this terminal and the successes you have achieved. Both of you are very familiar now with all the different ports, panels, circuitry, and command inputs for this system.
Boss is looking to make even if it's only just one addition to the base crew roster here. If he can add all of us as service personnel, that's cool. But if not, he'll nominate Ren and Chan as second in command.
I see what you're doing. Nice. That would be. I'm trying to decide between insight. Actually, you know what? No, this is going to be daring and engineering, I'd say.
Definitely, yeah.
Because you are going to be. So this is my justification, and feel free to refute me. You're going to be making leaps of assumptions as to what the second officer should look like, and also fill in necessary security information that should match the rest of the people on the ship. So
yeah, whichever you would think would be easiest, I can roll to detect if I need to first. But my ideal goal is to either insert us as acceptable service personnel with like name, rank, species, and like 1111 authorization code, or 1234 if you want to. Okay. If all of us is too much, then I definitely want to get one of us in there so it's acceptable.
Okay. You would also know that while this is possible, any mistakes could put you guys back to square one, as this would be more than a factory reset. This would be affecting core security routines, and you're unsure what lies deeper in the OS when it comes to its core security.
Yeah, so I'm going to spend all 4 momentum doing it.
Okay. This would be daring plus engineering, and the task difficulty.
You can't roll more than 5 dice, is that correct? In Star Trek as well?
Yes, you can't roll more than... hold on. You can't roll more than 5, but if you use 4... No. The first momentum is... The first D20 is 1 momentum. The second D20 is 2 momentum. So if you want to add 4 dice, you would need to spend 3 momentum.
Okay, that's cool. That's how that works.
Okay.
So it'll be 4 dice rolls, 3 momentum spent.
Okay.
Yep. And you said my difficulty is?
2.
All balls.
Can I assist as well?
Seeing how you can read the language with the translator, you would see what I was doing. You would see I would be accessing the employee roster.
Yes, go ahead and assist.
Okay. I'll let boss roll first.
Perfect.
Wow.
Excellent. So, boss, how does this look as you gain additional access and are able to start implanting stuff?
Was it going to be all of us as regular crewmen, or somebody as like official?
I would say you get the understanding that one can be added, but the one that you add would be complete. There would be no mistakes whatsoever about this one entity, or one personnel that you add to this file. You get the sense that you can do an excellent job in the time given to add this one entity in there and be it a complete identity where the ship's computer will not be able to detect otherwise.
Okay, I will enter Renan Chan, security officer Renan Chan, as second in command, basically number one equivalent.
Okay.
And Betazoid, because I'm pretty sure that's what his race is, and security code 1234.
Okay.
Yeah, Lyra doesn't do anything to help. Because she's watching and approvingly just kind of nodding at what boss is doing. So I'm not going to roll because I don't want to risk a complication.
Okay. Cool. So I'm just going to briefly cut over to Stalik. Stalik, I'm assuming you're near one of these security droids, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Go ahead. This would be a visual inspection because your tricorder is right now the boss and Lyra, unless actually I believe Salus's tricorder is right now pointing to this very location. So if you want, you can use hers, reprogram it, and get additional data, or just make a visual inspection. Which one would you like to do?
Yeah, so I guess he wouldn't do anything before knowing there weren't, or knowing that it would be worth it. So he's just trying to visually inspect with it, and if possible, use his knowledge of cybernetics to
perfect. Go for it.
Ascertain a little more information.
Yep. So go ahead. This would be a simple reason plus science of task difficulty 1, and your cybernetics focus does apply. Perfect. So you see in front of you destroyed security droid. You see that it has it's using some sort of anti-grav based hover technology that allows it to remain floating in space and move about, not having to use legs. You see that in the chest cavity there is a tool that looks like a stunner, and upon closer inspection, you feel that this is some sort of an electronic way to stun something. Very much like your own nerve pinch. You also are able to surmise that given the duties on the ship, a neural stunner would make sense if, say, the security droid had to corral some, animal life forms in the forest. You also see in the side compartment that there is like it's hollow, and within it there is some sort of netting. Would you like to spend that additional momentum to know more about netting or anything?
Yeah, exactly. So since he generated a momentum, he is going to try to figure out how he can get more information about this, and mainly how he can get these things out without damaging any of it in order to use it himself.
I see. So you see that the circuit boards are accessible from the back of the security droid. You'd have to kind of open it up with some of Boss Hog's engineering tools, you also see that the netting actually has weights at its ends. You're able to surmise that this is, it could use this netting to, say, capture an animal life form, and then maybe move it or relocate it to some other location. So it's a security droid, but mainly there to keep any animal life form from straying too far, destroying the ecological balance of the forest that this ship is trying to maintain. You are free to try and remove the circuit, remove the panel and get to the circuit boards. Something you might want to consider is property rights. I will let you think about that while the action.
Well, hadn't we established that this was all living life on this was dead? I guess it could belong to an overarching group. He would wait to do anything further, I guess, since there's not a whole lot of damage. It's just out of commission currently, and he'll head back to the group and see the progress they've made with the security, or if there's more on the way.
Okay, perfect. Back to Boss and Lyra. Boss, at this time, your programming is complete. You have been able to insert Rinan into the system. What would you like to do next?
Well, definitely if there's time before the thing completely reboots back up,
It's kind of right now in a pause mode because you kind of interrupted the boot sequence.
Okay, well, I'll briefly get a breath of air, expose myself, and if they're within earshot, I'll go. I say, Officer Chan, I've temporarily added you to the ship's roster as their second in command. Your voice authorization code's 1234. Says, hopefully when this thing reboots, everything will be all right. You'll just need to tell them who you are and what's currently going on. We should have access to the primary systems.
And Lyra asks, what are we going to do when it turns back on? What are we going to get from it? What information?
A technical layout of the vessel itself would be our first priority, as well as any existing life forms detected other than ourselves. We probably want to see if this thing was capable of interstellar communications as well.
What about propulsion?
True, a full systems diagnostic would definitely be in order.
If we had propulsion, we could try to navigate it back away from this explosion. I'm talking about the star, right? It's Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but this thing's getting sucked into a...
Yes, it's getting sucked into a red giant.
Yeah, so yes, if we can propulse it, if we can activate propulsion and get it away, then Starfleet could send a large group of scientists to investigate this vessel instead of just an away team such as ourselves.
Very true, but if this ship also possesses some manner of communication, we might be able to radio the Dharma better than our own... oh my god, our own... What the hell are the badge comms called?
Com badges.
Oh, yeah. we might be able to radio the Dharma better than our own comms, given the radiation levels. Since they might even be able to come to our location and use their tractor beam to help us.
She
pull
nods.
out of the decaying orbit.
Well, let's hope your programming worked, Ensign.
They just kind of scoff a little bit, visibly, and then he'll start puzzling in his mind, thinking if there's anything else we need to do. Because to me, if you got the golden key, that's the main thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because then he can display power levels and all that stuff. Because if it's offline, there's nowhere we can run anything anyway. I'll go
At least
on your
we'll know.
mark. Yeah, on your mark, I'm ready to initiate systems reboot.
Go ahead, Ensign Hogg. I'm ready.
Very well. Then let it resume. Basically, enter safe mode.
Perfect. So you guys let it go, and in a couple of minutes, basically scroll with a whole bunch of boot sequence statuses. After a couple of minutes, you guys, start hearing. Hello, welcome to the Griff Kavana. How can I help you today?
This is Second in Command Renan Chan, access code 1234.
Renan Chan. Yes, you are authorized. Security code verified. How may I assist you, Renan Chan?
Computer, run diagnostics on outer, what the hell were they called?
Sensor array.
Outer sensor array, and also propulsion. Provide status report.
Running diagnostics now. Outer sensor array seemed to be offline. Based on diagnostics, outer sensor array seemed to be damaged due to radiation. Radiation source unable to identify. And then you hear some more processing. And what was the second question you wanted to know?
Diagnostics on propulsion, see if propulsion's working.
Yeah. Propulsion systems seem online. However, propulsion systems seem to be uncalibrated. Propulsion systems seem to be in standby mode. Would you like me to rectify this?
Computer, verify your proposed solution before you enact it.
One moment, please. Unable to comply. There seems to be a large gravitational distortion around the ship. Need assistance to overcome gravitational distortion. Please provide new coordinates that I must proceed to.
Yeah, Lyra would turn to Renan. We should give them coordinates away from the star and see if it can pull itself out of the gravity well.
Right. Look for some nearby coordinates, and I'm speaking off to the side.
It did already give us the coordinates to New Vahar, right?
Yes.
Yeah, can we look at the coordinates to New Vahar and see? Is that right? Is it that going into the sun? Is that what?
No. If you give it the coordinates to the new one, it basically needs some assistance as to what it should be, and then maybe kind of help it program. Basically provide it some data as to the size of the gravitational field around it, so that it can navigate itself.
Yeah, I was just asking if the coordinates of New Vahar is away from the star, or
yes, it is.
Okay,
it is
okay.
away from the star.
All right, so yeah, so Lyra would look at basically any information she can gather, either from the console or her tricorder or anything, for that information for the computer.
Perfect. Renan, do you command the computer to take this new input in?
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay, so you guys hear this processing. Proceeding to New Vahar. New gravitational distortion effect parameters have been accepted. Plotting new course. bringing power systems back online, bringing thrust systems back online, bringing engines back online. And then you guys start seeing a whole bunch of statuses and display scroll on the various screens.
Lyra looks at Boss and then back to the others. Should we try to hail the Dharma?
Yes, let's see if it's possible to do so. Computer, do you have... Would that be subspace communication?
Yes, that would be subspace communication.
Okay. Computer, verify this vessel is capable of subspace communication.
This vessel is capable of subspace communication. However, I cannot detect operational subspace communication array. Running diagnostics now. And you guys hear the same processing again.
Boss gets guff and stomps his foot, and he's like, just what I figured.
Unable to comply. Communication subarray seems to be offline. Communication subarray seems to be damaged as well. Communication subarray seems to be damaged by possible radiation. Source of radiation unknown.
Computer, verify last known status of crew on board this vessel.
Processing. Status unknown. Crew member count 11. You would know 11 is 10 plus 1, including you. Unable to locate crew. Unable to find crew. Unable, and now the computer's kind of getting frantic. Unclear what happened to crew. Trying to locate crew. Internal sensors operational. Internal sensors searching for crew. Crew cannot be found.
Lyra looks at Brennan and she says, maybe you should ask him what was the last command or log the crew had inputted into the system.
I suggest making our own presences known as well, as allies.
And so how would I verify that?
Perhaps tell them of the radiation storm it encountered, and that we were sent in to try and lend assistance.
Computer, verify presence of other life forms in this room.
Presence verified. There are 4 other life forms in this room. Life forms unknown. Life forms not encountered before. Are life forms friendly or foe?
Verify life forms as friendly, responding to radiation damage to vessel.
Life forms have been deemed friendly, will provide all assistance to life forms. Radiation damage. Please specify type and source.
It's ion storm, right?
Mm-hmm.
Radiation type ion, source storm.
Affirmative. Radiation type and source matches the radiation damage caused to multiple subsystems on the Griff Kavana.
So this thing's actually starting to break away from its decaying orbit.
You guys are basically, you guys can hear now the engine starting to come back to life, and there's a hum. There is a slight shudder, throughout the flooring and the paneling around you, as you feel that the engines are now starting to operate and start to move the ship. Unless you try and you're unable to know which direction it's moving unless you kind of cycle through the screens and find out its the vector in which it's moving.
Yeah, let's do that.
Once the boss feels the ground rumbling, he'll immediately cut up. Since we've been identified as friendly, go, computer. This is life form boss Hog, engineer, 3rd grade class of the starship Dharma. Says, please verify structural integrity of vessel before initiating full thrusters.
And you again hear this processing. Structural integrity at 100%. All stresses within nominal levels. Engineer Boss Hog has been verified.
Given our current new course and trajectory to New Valhalla, this vessel's engineering department and the transwarp engines contain enough power to reach said destination.
And you again hear the processing and like, warp term unknown, unclear what you mean by warp term. Engines are capable of impulse power. And engines have not been engaged to full power. At full power, the Griff Kavana can make its way to New Vahar.
Estimated time of arrival. Okay, that's what I was about to ask.
Okay. And there's processing, and then 10 years, 2 months, 3 days, 5 hours, 6 minutes, 15 seconds.
Who is said vessel supposed to rendezvous with at New Vahar?
There's processing again. Negative 15 years, 4 months, 6 days, 3 hours, 20 minutes, 7 seconds.
Oh, I was asking who they were supposed to rendezvous with.
Oh, I see. Who? It's a good question. Rendezvous at New Vahar orbital platform. Rendezvous person, unclear. Captain would have to program that into the system.
Understood. Then he'll let anybody else that has any questions.
Computer, verify last order by the captain.
And there is some kind of processing again. You guys see it's actually like a video log, and then there is like, and then there's just like clipped voice. Caught in ion storm. Radiation levels increasing. Unable to counter. Unable to escape. Systems going to standby. Hope somebody. That's it.
Yeah, Lyra, computer, play the play when this recording was made. How long ago was it?
And then there's some processing again. "20 years, 10 months, 6 days, 5 hours, 4 minutes, 25 seconds.
Yeah, she looks back at Renan and then over to Boss and then the others and shakes her head.
Yeah, Boss lowers his and shakes it like mourning.
Well, I think we should contact the Dharma. More or less, the work is done here. I think we've averted catastrophe for the moment.
Just then, you guys start hearing comm badge kind of beep.
Oh. I guess I would hit it and... This is Ensign Sean. Is this Dharma?
Tet, you have a message.
Where have you been? This is Captain Nobunaga.
Captain Nobunaga. Ensign Sean, sir. We've had some difficulty getting back to you through the radiation, but I think we've found a bit of an open wave. There is quite a bit to report. I'll try to keep it as brief as I can. We've stabilized the vessel. It isn't actively falling into this. Is it a star, a neutron? What is it again?
It's a red giant.
Red giant. It's no longer actively falling into the giant. Crew, all hands perished to the ion storm, unfortunately. We have access to the computer systems. I can give you a full report when I arrive back, Captain, but we're mostly finished up here, I think. There's quite a lot to tell, sir.
Very well. Make sure the vessel clears the hazards of the red giant, and then be on your way back.
Understood, Captain. John out. All right. I think that we should gather as much data as we can about this culture, as well as their mission and what happened. One, for records, and two, obviously, out of respect for their memory. This crew maintained this vessel for as long as they could, despite the radiation.
Yes, I agree. Perhaps we should have Starfleet try to send us a transmission to this Avarian docking platform or whatever it is. Who knows? There may have been other survivors.
Agreed. And we must, of course, ensure that this clears the gravitational pull of the giant, after which I think it should be a simple matter to return to the runabout and return to the Dharma.
I'm willing to remain here long enough to make sure that we're on our way.
I'll stay with you, Ensign, Lara states. You could use an extra pair of hands.
I'll just scoff with a little bit of admiration towards your display previously. Yeah.
Let me make sure it is acceptable with the captain. I don't want to tell you that you have to stay or expect you to stay. Give me just one moment. I'll radio back, or attempt to, and hit my comm badge. Sean to Dharma.
And you hear Nobunaga on the other end.
Yes, Ensign?
Captain Ensign Hogg and Ensign Lyra have both volunteered to make sure that the ship clears the pull of the red giant for now, while we return to give you a report, and then, of course, bring them back over. I wanted to see what you advise, Captain.
I want you all to leave now.
Understood, Captain. I will inform them. Thank you, sir. John out.
Yeah, the boss is already wide-eyed with disbelief, just like, oh. Kind of has a frumpy look to his face.
We have to trust the computer systems, Ensign Hogg. I'm certain it will take care of itself. If not, well, I think we'll have enough time to rectify it. But we should all head back, just for safety reasons. I would hate to have you split off from us during the time when the forest is, well, hungry.
Understood. And he'll look back to the computer and jibe his thumb towards me as, what do we tell this?
All of you start gathering as much information as you can from the ports, and I will go ahead and speak with the computer.
Not being the Greenpeace lifey type, I would want to get as much as their technology information as I could. Those, I'm assuming, Stalik being life, so I'm not going to want to put words in his mouth, but you might want to try to preserve their culture if you can get any information from it. I'm all
He
about.
already has a bunch of their documents on the tricorder.
Oh, okay. This is the last known, in my mind, it's the last known remnant of this civilization. So I want to try and protect and preserve as much as possible of it. But being an engineer, his mindset is all on schematics and technologies, and they might have a different way of replicating it. Even though it's older, it might be a more simplistic way. Blah blah blah.
So my prerogative with the computer would be, first of all, mainly my primary thing is just to provide it with Starfleet and provide it like their credentials and everything and information. I mean, even though the subspace the comm thing is busted, maybe they could put out a general distress signal or something. But just provide it with this information on Starfleet and everything like that, just as a point of contact once it completes the journey.
I got news for you. Yeah, I want to spend a bit with the computer verifying that there are indeed no other life forms on this vessel. If so, try to advise it, given its technology level, optimal ways or premium ways of optimizing their power reserves and stuff to reach their destination.
Yeah, so boss, you are able to hook up your tricorder and start downloading all the schematics that you need to your tricorder. I won't. There's no need to roll a task because you're extremely familiar with the system now. So that is not an issue. You're also able to download operational specs as to what the Griff Kavana's complete mission statement was, and you're also able to download all the information regarding the different plant species and animal species that were on this ship.
Cool. Can isolate it that way they can diagnose it and determine what might be allergic to some races, etc., etc.
Yes, there is enough information to get somebody's interest. Now, if that somebody needs to additional studies, they will actually have to interact with those plants, take samples, so on and so forth.
Yeah. I'm just trying to do the whole prime directive thing, basically. Preserve a culture as best we can.
Yeah, I mean, do I see somebody get plant information? Or if you tell him if you tell Starlight there's plant information there, definitely. Because he already went through it and got kicked out, so I guess he's not sure exactly what's there.
You've been identified as a friendly now.
So you just, I mean, you have the information, you just give it to him, or do you?
I'm going through schematics and stuff. That's what I was saying, without putting words in your mouth. If you want to, you've been identified as a friendly. You can interact with a computer.
All right, never mind. Okay, so Stalik will just go up to another monitor himself and access the information himself.
Yep. So Starlet, you can see that there is detailed information, plant and animal life on the system that you can then download to your tricorder. This is detailed enough to give a brief understanding about the plant structure, its growth cycle, life cycle, right? And some basic qualities. Additional information would mean scientific research in the field, taking lots more samples and running it through a battery of tests. But you have enough data in here to kind of get an understanding of what this forest is all about. Like, what are the different species within it? What they're from a botany perspective, there is enough information in there to get a good understanding.
On their way out, he'll take whatever more samples he can for further studies. Use it with this information as well.
Okay. So you guys start heading out?
Yeah, your comm badges are going
Yes.
off again.
Yes, we're getting out.
Your comm badges are going off at this point.
This is Ensign Sean.
This is Engineer Hogg.
Ensign Sean, Engineer Hogg, you need to get to your runabout immediately. We have 2 incoming vessels on long-range scanners. Gnossian raiders, most likely. If I wanted you to go to that vessel for a vacation, I would have told you so. Get back here now.
Right away, Captain.
Understood, Captain. On our way.
Awesome. So you guys start heading out towards ship. Are you guys racing through the jungle at this point?
Probably have to if we're about to get shot. If this thing's up here trying to fight the Dharma.
Double time, people. Watch your 6.
Okay.
We got lots of wildlife in this place. Go.
Good luck.
I got athletics. I'll sprint.
So you guys start racing through the jungle, going through all the places that you've been through. I want you guys, all of you, to roll control. Hold on, let me just see. Sorry, fitness plus security as you're running through the jungle.
Oh shit, I work out all the time.
Have athletics. Does that do anything for me? Focus.
Yes, athletics would give you focus in this.
Yeah, I'm not gonna have a focus.
And the difficulty again?
And the difficulty in this would be 2.
Ooh, who's going first? Oh, okay.
I made it.
All right. I'm tempted to spend a momentum for that. This one, this could be bad. Oh, fitness is. Yeah, fuck it. We have 2. Let's spend a momentum.
Glad you did.
Stalik, you're up.
Oh no!
Okay, I'll keep that in mind, and let me do security plus fitness.
Salis is gonna kill this, I'm sure. She always did so well in the jungle before.
Okay, so I want Boss, Lyra, and Drinnen to roleplay how you guys are running through the jungle at this point.
Go ahead, Boss.
Boss heard an angry captain, so he's gonna like sprint. He's part goat, so he's like leaping, just like going in stride, just like leaping up onto a rock, trying to remember his path, and he spots a couple plants here and there, and then he'll run back down again, and little short dude.
Yeah, Lyra's not running particularly quickly, but she's steady, keeping her feet from getting tripped by any underbrush and that sort of thing.
Okay.
Oh yeah, just full sprint. This is from all the times that I go on runs in the what are those rooms called? The hollow rooms?
The hollow suite, yeah.
Hollow suites, yeah. All the time I go mountain climbing / running in the hollow suite. No problem.
Okay, and as you guys are running ahead, Stalik and Alice start to fall behind. Stalik, how does that look?
Stalik, like he's trying to run as fast as he can, but in the back of his mind, he's looking for anything accessible that he can, quickly harvest, and it's causing him to, maybe trip a little here, stumble a little there, and he's just not quite making it quite as fast.
Yep. Okay. And Salis she's completely lost at this point. She can barely keep up with you guys. She was meant to be in a pilot seat, and this running through the jungle, jumping over, being attacked by plants, and all this was not what she signed up for. She's having a difficult time. Stalik and Salis, you guys succeed, but at cost. While you're running through the jungle, you kind of for a moment lose the group, and the frantic nature, you're trying to catch up with them. You do not see where you step, and you actually take a hard tumble. Each of you lose 3 stress as you your leg catches the root. You guys kind of fall down. Rinan, give me an insight plus security check at task difficulty 1.
I had no momentum here.
No momentum.
Any focuses?
Let's see. Composure.
Okay.
Nice.
I'm
Perfect.
composed.
You quickly notice that while Boss and Lyra are keeping up, Stalik and Salis are falling behind. You have generated enough successes to help them successfully catch up with the rest of the. How does that role play out?
I sort of glance over my shoulder quickly as we're going through a straightaway that's not covered in vines or things trying to eat us, and I see that we're more or less missing. You two keep going. You know the way. I need to find out where these other 2 have gone, and run back and see them. Come on! Don't you take your physical conditioning seriously? Let's go! Move forward! And I just sort of taskmaster it, and if I need to pick up Salis because she's then I will, and just haul, because I got that barrel chest.
Double time. You can hate me later.
Pretty much.
And at that point,
stop looking for plants.
Yeah. At that point, Stalik stops, like, looking around, and you see his eyes narrow on the path, and he just, runs.
Perfect. So you guys, for the next half an hour, I would say 45 minutes, you guys are running at the fastest you have ever run through this place. You remember all the places you tracked various plants, and you deftly and nimbly kind of skip over them, get past them, and start making your way towards that door, that airlock, and the Vedas that's waiting on the other side. Pretty soon, it's been just little under an hour since you heard your captain
Oh shit.
make you start running towards your ship. At this point, you would see that the Dharma has come much closer to the spaceship and the Vedas.
Yeah, as you get in, are they in the runabout yet?
At this point, they would be in the runabout, ready to undock and move away.
Yeah, you get hailed by your captain again.
Does anybody respond to the captain?
This is Sean on the runabout.
We're going to be sending you some coordinates for a rendezvous. I have to say, Ensign, I'm getting a little perturbed of having to come to your rescue all the time.
Apologies, Captain. We'll try not to make a habit of it anymore.
I hope so. Rendezvous with us, and then report to your duty stations immediately. You'll be debriefed after this situation is taken care of.
Understood, Captain. John out. tapping badge. Alright. Alright. Ensign Stalic, take us away. Coordinates. And then provide her with the coordinates.
Oh, Salas. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Salus.
Stalic.
I'll put a reassuring hand on Salas. Catch your breath, woman, and make us proud.
Hold on. Yep. So Salus jumps in the seat, and there's a new focus now on Salus's face, something that you're not before. And you guys were too busy to see that, while you guys were running through the jungle trying to get this computer system back online. But Salus's face changed the moment she heard raiders were on the Dharma. Salus does not like raiders, and especially when it comes to Dharma, she does not like anyone threatening her. You guys see some nifty flying as Salus quickly undocks from the Griff Kawana, and in the most efficient way, she brings it around and starts entering the shuttle bay based on the new coordinates given by Captain. Just as you guys are docking, Captain Nobunaga sees two Nausicaan raiders come up on the other end of the Griff Kawana.
Yeah, so he's sitting in his captain's chair on the bridge. Evasive maneuvers, Commander. Talking to Singh.
Yep, and we are now moving to the bridge. And hold on. Oh baby.
Oh shit, son, we're getting rowdy.
Commander Singh is at this location while he's going to do control plus con.
So is the away team back in the
Yep, the away team is now within the hangar and is now on their way to take their positions.
Good.
Oh yes. Task difficulty 2. And it is the ship comes into play. Engines.
I'm gonna need access to Nobunaga when you get a chance, Cypher. No hurry.
Perfect. We'll do that.
Damn.
And while you guys see Commander Singh is desperately and frantically trying to get the ship moving in evasive pattern, just then the rest of you come through the onto the bridge. Hold
So
on.
are we just kind of listing, or how's that?
No, you guys are up. Just want to
Say again, you cut out.
sorry, no, you guys are fine. As in, you're in a holding pattern.
Mm-hmm.
And wanting to go into evasive maneuver is perfectly tactical.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, you are unable to move the ship fast enough, so it is the evasive maneuvers don't look evasive. They just look
like a maneuver.
like
A slow turn. Turning left.
And you guys can see at this time Commander Singh's face starting to get very, very, very red.
Yeah, Nobunaga's like, is that all this thing has? And he's like, shields up. And he sees Chon run in. He's like, you, ensign. Shields up now.
Understood, Captain. And what's that? The roll to put shields up?
No, it's basically an interaction. The console where you are at is your tactical console. That is where you will be making ship attacks and things like shield and other tactical decisions. Stalek, where you are at, sorry, that would be here, would be medical, and Boss, where you're at, that entire thing would be engineering here. So at this point, Renan, the activating shields up is just an action, and your shields are up.
Okay.
Salus, in the meantime, says, "Captain, let me try and get the ship moving." And
Make it so.
Troll and 2d20. Yes. 2.
Hey.
And she's using the ship to do that, so the ship also gets to do it.
And then Nobunaga says, "Someone hail these few fools and put it on screen."
Ooh, captains, you see your ensign Salus make the most perfect evasive maneuver you've seen in quite some time.
We're spinning.
I'm glad that this ship can do something, Ensign. Well done. Now let me see these fools' faces. Hail them.
Boss, you are able to get the hailing system up and running in time to bring this guy on the screen.
Oh God.
I'm not seeing him. Where is he?
That's to the front.
He's in front.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
The guy with the ass for a face.
I see it.
Just to give you guys
Captain Ass Face.
The Dharma, in the most perfect evasive maneuver, is now alongside the Griff Kavana and is flanking the two incoming Nausicaan ships. Your helmsman not only evasively maneuvered, now has an advantageous attacking position on these guys.
Yeah. So, is he on the screen?
He is on the screen, and he says, "Captain, what is the meaning of this?"
I would ask you the same question. We're here on an exploration mission, and we found this listless ship in space. I would suggest you cease your aggressive approach.
Aggressive approach? You, sir, are the one aggressively approaching.
I'm not even approaching you yet. You won't like it when I do.
Is that a threat, Captain? We are just humble salvagers, here to salvage the ship. What right do you claim on it?
And he says, "I claim no right, but I don't believe this ship is yours."
And he says, "Maybe, but I don't see Federation markings on this ship. This ship is surely not yours either."
It is not ours, but it is someone's, and that someone will receive their ship intact, Captain. It's flying. And he basically looks at the captain. It is flying, therefore it is not a salvageable ship. It is on its way to its destination, is it not? Are you going to attack a ship that is flying to its destination? That sounds like an act of war.
You say it's flying, I barely see it's moving. Captain, do not fool me with your Federation language and do not, I say do not try and tempt me. Captain Nobunaga, give me
yes, sir.
an insight plus command roll.
I need access to my sheet, please.
I think I gave it to you. Let me just check. Captain Nobunaga.
I have access to my token, but not my sheet.
Yes.
There we go, I do now. Okay.
Yeah.
You said insight and what?
Insight and command. Last difficulty 1. And You have.
I likely have something. Let's see.
Oh, you have a bunch of things, but I want to ask
Yeah.
you. I would say with alien cultures.
Yes. Okay. I can do that.
Go ahead.
All right. Insight Command.
I
Coming
think
up.
I have that too.
2d20. Focus, yes. Task difficulty?
1. Oh, beautiful. Message is coming towards you.
Okay.
Seeing through that bullshit.
I know you're looking for a fight, Captain. But today is not the day I want to smash a pirate. I suggest you go away and do so very quickly before I send a photon torpedo directly in your direction.
A photon torpedo, ha ha ha. You Federation fools, you think we are fools? We know your prime directive and other such, what do you say, weak propaganda. You will not fire upon a Nausicaan ship.
Ensign
You're a
Sean,
fool, Captain.
please show this man he is incorrect. Fire.
Understood, Captain. Firing photon torpedoes.
All right. Ensign Sean,
Mm-hmm.
before I do that, Captain Nobunaga,
Yes,
is
sir.
he firing his photon torpedoes directly at the...
No.
Or is it a shot across the bow?
It is a shot across the bow.
Perfect. Renan Chung, I want you to make first a control plus security. Control plus security. Task difficulty 3. You will be assisted by the ship because the ship is going to be one firing the torpedoes. You
Okay.
will also have composure.
So, here's what I would like to do. I would like to use the determination here with a value. Value being to protect those I hold dear.
Yes, you do.
Okay. So, and that's for the determination. That's just an automatic 1 on the.
Yes, that's giving you 2 successes.
Okay, and then I will also we had momentum generated by Ensign Salas's maneuvers, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I also generated a momentum, I believe.
Yes,
Okay.
I believe you have 3 at this point.
Okay, so I'll use 1 momentum to get an additional dice.
Perfect, go for it.
So it's control and security.
Control and security.
Yeah, Nobunaga would send him a message over his. Do I have a console at my seat? I believe I
Yes, you do.
do.
Yes, you
Just
do.
telling him to shoot across the bow and not.
So I have how many successes?
You have 3 successes. Hold on. So now this is where it gets interesting. I want you to click on the Dharma sheet,
Okay.
and this is where the photon torpedo will be fired. So go ahead and click on that. Before you click on the photon torpedo, you'll be click on the weapons
Mm-hmm.
and then choose security, ship security, focus applies. Ignore mine, but that's basically what it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I had 2 additional successes from the determination, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have 5. I might depending on how this goes, I'm going to try to cancel that complication with
Mhm,
momentum.
Might accidentally hit him.
Yeah,
Perfect.
I'm going to go ahead and cancel complication with momentum. I'm going to notice that there's notice that right before I fire, notice that I'm actually firing like right where I'm aiming at has a potential to actually hit them, and I'm just going to veer it a little bit further to the side so that I don't.
Perfect.
Basically.
And is anything else you would like to add to that?
As far as like how it looks, or
Yeah, RP wise or any comments?
So, of course, adjusting my mistake without, of course, giving it away that I made the mistake in the first place. Fire the photon torpedo and it's just one of those things where it flies, maybe explodes just before them. Just give them a nice bright light show. It's like, yeah, we're not playing games in Starfleet.
And Captain Nobunaga, you are also amazed, Rinnan and his tactical expertise and usage of starship weapons. You could not have asked for a better display of force when it comes to this particular encounter. Just as the torpedo finishes its explosion, let me, guys, sound effects. That's what we're here for. And immediately the Nausicaan is back. Captain, what is the meaning of this? Why are you firing at us? We did not take any military action against you.
You displeased me, and you did not obey what I told you. So, if you do not want my ship to send another your way that will hit you this time, you will turn around and you will go away. Otherwise, Ensign Sean, prepare to fire again on my command.
Wait,
Captain.
That will not be necessary.
Are you-
Captain.
Once I see you turn around, I will close the torpedo tubes. I'm not here to negotiate with you. I am telling you what to do. You will do so now.
You drive a hard bargain, Captain. What was your name again?
My name is Captain Oda Nobunaga of Clan Oda, of the USS Dharma of the Federation or the USS. Sorry, the Starfleet. Fuck. I ruined that. I am.
Federation of Planets.
Yes, that.
Starfleet United Federation of Planets.
This won't be the last time we meet, Captain Nobunaga. I shall be ready the next time. Out. And you see that he doesn't give you his name, which is extremely dishonorable and rude.
Yeah. I'm not surprised.
He disconnects, and you see on your scanners that the Nausicaan ships quickly turn tail and depart. At their maximum warp, they're gone.
Good firing, Ensign.
Thank you, Captain.
At this point, the Griff Kavana is out of the gravity well of the giant red star. Its engines are operational. So the amazing work done by Boss Hogg and Lyra. It's now back on track towards New Vahar. The table is open to roleplay and any closing comments.
Yeah, the captain would be like, how long do you want this to go on, Zypher? Do you want me... Are we close?
Yeah, pretty much the mission itself is done. Captain Nobunaga is free to debrief his crew.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do. So Nobunaga turns to Commander saying, Commander, you have the bridge. You 4, to my ready room. Or 5, I suppose.
And
yes, Captain.
Be here. Just move guys in. Man. Oh man. Stop it.
Getting crowded in here.
Badasses. There you go. Everybody in the room. Go ahead.
He walks into the room and he says, it looks like you got the ship back online. Good work. But let me tell you, when I tell you something, you do it. You don't wait around. If I need to explain every little thing to you, you will be off the ship. No matter how skilled you are. Do you understand?
Understood, Captain. Can I tell you why we took that extra time, sir?
No. That will be in your report, and I will read it in the debriefing. There is no excuse unless you were being attacked by something. Were you being attacked by something, Ensign?
The jungle on our way back, Captain, but otherwise no.
The jungle, you say? And he looks kind of interested in that. That is an interesting thing to find on a ship.
Yes, Captain, and I will, of course, include it all in my report, as you requested.
Are there people manning this ship currently?
Unfortunately not, Captain. All hands perished as a result of the ion storm. The computer is the one driving its propulsion systems. It appeared stable enough.
And he kind of nods. Do we need to do anything to research this vessel, or where is it going? He kind of cuts himself off.
Well, the away team and I collected as much information as we could about the vessel, the culture it was part of, as well as their technologies, schematics. It is going to New Wahar, and I provide you and him with the coordinates and everything.
And he kind of... That doesn't ring a bell, but nothing does out here. We're in uncharted territory. Perhaps we need to initiate first contact.
It may be necessary, Captain. Though they are spacefarers, they did not understand what warp technology was.
He kind of wonders about that. I will send a report to Starfleet once you have created your report, and let them decide on what to do.
Of course, Captain.
And he looks... Anything else, ensigns?
Stallic stands and he says, I have acquired a few samples as well as data on their studies from the ship. And he shows the fungus that he has. He says, I believe this could be quite vital in furthering our studies on reducing the effects of radiation.
Nobunaga nods. He says, good, take it to the biology labs and give it to them there. And include this in your report, of course.
Yes, Captain.
Boss would wait for the right time to speak, and during the time that he's being addressed by the captain, he'll twitch his wounded arm that got singed. You can see the cuff is singed and burnt from doing this stuff, and he'll basically cordially promptly add, even though you could tell that he's trying to stifle himself from saying something. but when prompted for further replies, he goes, Captain, I do believe that this vessel was lost 20 years ago. He says it might be a planet's dying effort to save its culture. I might suggest that Starfleet be privy to such information. Who knows, it might be considered a historical significance.
Good. In your report, Ensign, Starfleet will decide. I will pass the report on to them with my recommendations.
Yeah.
Be as detailed as you possibly can.
He'll nod deeply, kind of embarrassed, and says, very well, Captain.
And he looks at Hog's arm. And make sure you head to the sick bay before you write your report, Ensign.
He'll look at it like it's nothing. Just like, very yes, Captain, as you wish.
And then Nobunaga says, very well. You're dismissed.
And with that, we end the session. As USS Dharma starts changing its trajectory and moving away from the Griff Kavana and the Red Giant.
Make Ted give his captain report.
God. Just don't make me actually tell you what what organization we're a part of, and
By order of fuck.
Yeah. It was good until that part.
Kathy's
By order of Zypher.
This is Captain Odo. Oh, this is Captain Odo. No. Starship, something another.
Yeah, whatever happened to that accent?
Oh, I mean, yeah, he doesn't have an Asian accent. I can't imagine that would still happen.
Oh, come on. He's rich in his... Maybe you picked it up on purpose. You heard some old, you know...
We're all homogenous point. We all sound.
You remember I told you about that one Japanese guy I know that he spoke with an Oklahoma accent. He was. How you doing? How's it going? Yeah,
All right. Are we done? I'm gonna stop the recording if we.
Yeah. We were
Okay.
done as soon as I said you.
Okay.
Star Trek, was that 4 or 5?